Hi, I'm Anne from Game Like a Mother. Today I'm going to show you how to play Trails. It's ages 10 and up, 2 to 4 players, and it takes 20 to 40 minutes. Let me show you how to play. The goal of the game is to get the most points, which you earn by acquiring resources and purchasing badges, and there's also a bonus for collecting the most birds. For game setup, this is a 2-player game, and you pick your color of hiker, put them on the beginning tile, and then you are given one of each type of resource, and you have a full canteen. This is a 2-player game. They make it pretty clear and easy for the game setup, depending on if you have 2, 3, or 4 players. These are the end tiles. You have the trail head and the trail end. So this is a tile that says 2 through 3 on it. So if you're playing 2 or 3 players, you play with this side. If you're playing 4-player, switch it over to the other side. The only difference is these icons at the top, which I'll explain here in a sec. On this, it's a 2-player. And then if you're playing with 3 or 4, you switch to the other side. Again, just more icons at the top. You make sure all of these 5 tiles in the middle are sun side up. It's pretty clear which is sun and which is the sun when the sun has gone down. And you can shuffle them up and deal them out, these 5, in any order. Although this is in the rules, this is their recommended layout for your first time playing. So that's what I just did here. And then you put the sun on the farthest over spot on the trail end icon. And on this end, there are a few different spots for it to go on. For this side of the board, there's just one. There is a bear that basically you get an extra bonus action if you land on a spot that has the bear that moves around during the game. It starts out in the center spot, however you've shuffled things out. It starts out in the center. We always just put the die near it. And then you have badge cards. That's these. You deal out 2 to either side of the board, face up. Anybody can earn these over the course of the game, but you have to be on the side of the board, buy them in order to purchase the ones that are over there. And then each player is given one that is private to them and no one else knows what it is. And those are considered in their reserve, and they can purchase them, but again, only when they're at a trailhead or trail end. You put the resources here at the bottom that match the picture on the tile. You have the most birds token below this tile, and here is your spot to put your photo pile, and then you just discard them here off to the side. Basic gameplay is pretty simple. You randomly decide who you want to go first, and we'll say that it's going to be the brown hiker, and you get to choose on your turn to move 1 or 2 spots, 1 or 2 tiles forward. That is your standard turn. If you move to any of these just basic resource tiles, it's pretty clear. You just take the picture of whatever the resource is at the bottom, you collect one of those. Your turn is over, next person's turn. We'll go ahead and have them go here to show how this tile works. This, you just trade 1 resource for 2 of another kind. And no, you can't trade in 1 of a resource and then get 2 back of the same kind. It has to be a different resource. So we'll go ahead and have them trade in 1 acorn for 2 leaves. That would be their turn. If you land on a bear space, that is very nice, you can choose to either resolve the bear action or resolve the action on the spot first, which, depending on how many resources you have or what you're trying to do, it can be advantageous to do it first or second, depending on what you have going on. But here they're just going to go ahead and collect the resource. And then for the bear, when you land on a spot that has it, you roll this die and you get to collect the resource pictured on here, and the bear moves to that spot. So they rolled the rock, the bear moves to this spot, and then they collect that resource. Other options are there's the acorn, there's all of these different spots. And it can come up with the bear again, which just means you get to select the spot you want it to move to, and then you get that resource. So they could have selected, if they had rolled the bear, they could have selected any of the spots they wanted to, although strategically it's kind of nice to keep on putting it in front of you so you can keep on getting it, so it probably wouldn't have been so bad to put it here. Anyway, if it is on the night side, the sun starts moving along here pretty soon, and these tiles start flipping over to the night side. So if this had already been on the night side, when you roll you get the resources of that side. So even though it shows one rock here, that means one stone, you would move to the bear to that spot, and you would get to collect 2 of that resource. So it is whatever is on the tile when you are collecting the bonus. It's back to the white player's turn. They're going to go here and collect 1 resource. Brown is going to show how the photo spot works. When you land on the photo spot, you pay 1 resource to collect a photograph. So we'll go ahead and have Brown pay 1 stone. And when you do this, you get to take 2 cards and then decide which one you want to keep. Sometimes there's birds on the cards. Sometimes there can be different point values. So whatever seems the most advantageous you keep. Here, clearly, this is the better card because they both have the same number of birds, but this has a point. So you don't show this to anybody else, what you're keeping. And they select their card, place it face down in front of them. They never show anybody this card until the end of the game when you're tallying points, but they can look at it whenever they want during the game, particularly when you're trying to tally up how many birds you have, and if you think you have enough to win the bonus for the most birds, you'll be consulting your cards. Then you discard the card you didn't select off to the side. On future turns, if the other hiker lands in this spot, they can choose to either take the 2 cards on top or just take the topmost card of the discard pile. You don't get 1 from the discard pile and 1 from the draw pile. You just take the top card from the discard pile if that is what you were selecting. Also, this pile can run out over the course of the game. If that happens, if it's been collected and discarded, you do not shuffle it. You just take it and place it back unshuffled to go through again. So leave it how it was. And then he's done. This player's moving on. You do have a limit of how many resources you can collect, and the limit is 8 at the end of your turn. So we'll go ahead and have him collect his acorn, and we're just going to have him come to the trail, and so he can show what happens when you get to the spot, because this is when a few things happen and you get to purchase cards and a whole bunch of stuff happens and moves the game along. There is a handy checklist on page 7 of the rules. I recommend consulting the first few times you play the game. It says when you reach the trail end, first you turn your hiker around, face the trail. Next, you gain the sun bonus, which is whatever the sun is pointing at. Here it is the bear, the wildlife symbol. When this happens, you get to roll the wildlife die and move the bear and take its action. So it got moved to the leaf spot, and he would get to collect that item. Next, you get to earn badges, and that's kind of where the magic happens. So on your turn, you can collect 0. You don't have to buy any badges, but you want to. That's how you win the game. 0, 1, 2, or up to 3. So this is what he has in his hand that the other players wouldn't know about, and he's wanting to purchase. There are 2 parts to look at on any of these badges. At the top is the cost, and down below is the point value plus bonus actions. There's a whole bunch of different things that can happen with these cards. Some of them over here, there's it's a point per type of collector card you have at the end. So if you have a bunch of these cards with a green insignia on them, that would be worth 1 point at the end of the game. It can combine with if they earn this card. These are badges at the bottom. These are not additional resources. And so this would count towards that total at the end of the game if they had both of these. If you have any questions about any of the cards, there is at the very back of the rule book, there's a nice little chart so you can look up exactly what the card is called. They all have names, and see what their points and if there are any birds on them. There can be birds on these cards, and then what their bonus actions are, fully explained if just these little images aren't enough. So basically, he's going to, and this is where it's really great because you can sometimes end up with more than 8 resources at the beginning of your turn, but it's okay as long as you are down to fewer than that by the end of the turn. So he's going to use 2 acorns to purchase this card, and you just place them face up beside you. So we'll put it right here. And then he gets a bonus action, and he gets to choose one of the 3 resources that he wants to collect. We'll say he goes ahead and collects another acorn because then he can use that to purchase the science card. And so he uses one of each of the resources to purchase that. And he only has 2 resources left. He can't buy anything else. Oh, and the sun should have moved on after he did his turn. After you've done the sun, it's very important to move it on. This doesn't switch to the night side when that happens. It's only when, because the sun is on it, and this never flips. So it would be when the sun, then this player gets over here, then the sun starts moving along to the end. So now he's collected his badges for this turn, and he gets to refill them. So you put out another one here for everyone, and then he puts back in his hand another secret one just for him to collect. And he didn't have the option of purchasing these badges at this end of the trail. You can only purchase the badges on that side of the trail. So he refills over here, he refills this, and then when he comes back to this end of the trail, that's when he would have the option to purchase these badges. So his turn is over. He's doing really well, and it is now this player's turn to continue on. We'll say this player doesn't want to just move 1 or 2 spots. They want to go all the way to the trailhead and the trail end and start purchasing some badges. That is an option. These canteens are both full, and your other option besides just moving 1 or 2 tiles per turn is you can flip your canteen over and zoom all the way to the end of the board if you want. If he had been all the way back here on a different turn and he really wanted to, he could go from here to here on the canteen. Totally permissible. But once your canteen is empty, you only get to refill it back here at the trail head, not the trail end. The sun moves along on the trail end. It's the trail head that has the little icon for this. That's where it gets refilled. So if he did that, he now gets the action for the sun. So he would collect one of these. He turns, collects the stone, and now the sun moves one. And if any hikers or the bear had been on this spot, they wouldn't be impacted by this. They can still be there. You flip it over, and now it's like this for the rest of the game. And this player can proceed with purchasing his badges and continuing on. And then when this player starts going along, when they go on the way back, they now get to collect 2 stone when they go on this spot. And that's the same for these. They both become 2. For this, the pictures, instead of costing 1 resource, become free. You just, if you land on that spot, you get a photo. this will look like this with 2 spots. This will look like this with 2 leaves. And then this will turn from, instead of trading 1 resource for 2 of the same type of a different one, so trade 1 acorn for 2 leaves, instead you trade 1 for 2 different resources. And so again, you can't trade in a leaf and take back a leaf and an acorn. If you trade in a leaf, you're taking back an acorn and a rock. Here's what the game might look like towards the end of the game. Each hiker has acquired a fair number of badges, and they've managed to flip all of the tiles in the center from day to night, and there are just 2 spots left for the sun to travel. It is Brown's turn. He's going to go ahead and move 2 spots, turn, take the bonus where the sun currently is, which will roll the die, and oh, acorns came up. So he's going to collect 2 acorns. He has more than 8 resources here. It does not matter because he's still in the middle of his turn. The bear stays here because he rolled the spot. It was already on. The sun moves over to the next spot, and now he can begin to purchase additional badges. So he's going to go ahead and purchase this badge right here. He gets it, and I like to stack them according to type. It just makes it a little tidier at the end of the game. He instantly gets this bonus, which is to trade 1 resource for 2 of another type. And yes, it doesn't matter that this has switched to the night side, and on the board you would switch 1 resource for 1 of each of the other 2. This card says 1 for 2 of a different type. So that's what he's going to go ahead and do. We'll say he goes ahead and trades the acorn for another cobblestone. Sure. And then he can purchase this card, which, here we go, 2 stone and 3 leaves. And now he gets to gain the sun bonus in its current location. The sun does not move on when he does this, and the sun isn't at the same spot it was when he was first on this spot. It's not on the bear anymore, it's here, and he gets a free picture. So we'll just say he grabs 2, he doesn't want the 1 point, he's going to get 1 point and a bird. Much better. Discard the other, put this in his stack of photos. His turn is over, and he needs to make sure that these are refilled. Okay, and nobody would see this. He puts it in front of him. Now it's White's turn. White goes here, and this is what is initiating the final round of play in the game. He turns, he gets the sun bonus, which is a picture. We'll just have him take the picture on the top. He's allowed, puts it on his pile. Now he puts the sun in front of him, and he can go ahead and purchase his items that he wants over here. So sure, he'll go ahead and get this, get the bonus at the bottom, and he'll go ahead and get this one too. You're generally pretty rich at the end of the game, and he gets the bear bonus, rolls the bear, gets another picture. Isn't that nice? This is a nice one too with a bird, and the bear moves to that spot. Now, it doesn't matter who went first, whoever is the one to have the sun in front of them, then the rest of the players in play each get to go 1 more time. This player doesn't get any more turns. It's just everybody else. So 2-player game, it's only 1 other person gets to have 1 more move. They're going to go ahead and go here because at least a free picture. They don't have enough to buy anything. So they also are going to just decide between 2 birds or a point. You're just going to take the point this time. Sure. And then they get to roll the bear token. They still get all sorts of fun things. They get to pick the spot. They want another picture because that's just freebie points. They wouldn't be able to spend any of the resources they got now anyway. pretty identical, bird and 0 points. So they take one. The game is over. It is time to tally up your points and see who is the winner. At this point, players can flip over their photo cards. These players got a bunch. We usually start by counting up the number of birds you have. And that's usually, you start with photo cards, count the number of birds. There are birds on some of the badges as well, so take that into account. For this game, I am pretty sure this player got the most birds, so they would get this badge. Then you just add up your score. Take into account there are some cards like the collector where you get 1 point per this type of card collected. And it's not just the 3 here because they have 2 science badges, so that's actually worth 5. There's a badge at the bottom of those, so that's worth quite a few points for them. Tally up your score. Whoever has the most points is the winner. If there is a tie, whoever has the most badge cards would break the tie, and then after that, it's whoever has the most. If there's still a tie with that, then it's whoever has the most photo cards, and then whoever has the most birds. So that's how to play Trails. It's all the fun of the outdoors, but indoors. So check it out. Thanks and see you next time from Game Like a Mother.